Hello, this is Dr. Mark Miravalle, Professor of Theology and Mariology at the Franciscan University of Steubenville. And it is Wednesday, November 5th, 2008. It is the day after the elections of the United States President. And I've been asked to make a statement regarding the elections, and I would be honored to do so at this moment. I believe that for Catholics, for Christians, for people of sincerely goodwill, that whether it be in a few days or in a few weeks or in a few months, we're going to wake up, and for those who casted a vote for the pro-abortion candidate who is now our president-elect, at some point in the not too distant future, we will wake up and come to the realization of, what have I done? And I say that without judgment of heart, but I say it with objectivity of mind in light of the president-elect that now will be guiding the United States of America and all the outreaches of the United States of America in terms of media, in terms of public policy, in terms of moral policy. Evidently, based on exit polls, over half of the Catholics in the United States of America voted for a candidate and for a platform that voices the following positions. Number one, the immediate putting forth and ratifying into law the Freedom of Choice Act. This is an act which removes all bans on any form of abortion. That includes partial birth abortion. Since this is now public policy, it's important you know precisely what that is. That means giving partial birth to a human being and getting the head out of the womb and then literally sucking the brain out of his or her tiny human head. Also, this candidate, and therefore the policies that will be going forward, does not protect a child who survives an abortion. That based on legislation in Illinois, if a child does survive an abortion, the child has no rights, and therefore the child could be strangled or could be drowned, as has been the case in some of these particular cases. This candidate has also sadly vowed that he will revoke the Defense of Marriage Act, and that means any limitations of marriage in terms of being exclusively between a man and a woman. This was a policy given in an open letter in February of 2008. And there's every reason to believe that this will also be enacted. We are also talking about a candidate who now is the president-elect, who has said that children as young as 13 years old young girls can have an abortion without parental consent. That means you're talking about a new undermining of the basic authority of father and mother in the family. And sadly, the list goes on and on and on. And that's why, which includes elements of sex education in kindergarten, any type of foundational Christian Judeo-moral code has now been broken. Or at least there is indications that there will be no commitment to upholding basic principles of the natural law. So, my friends, if you feel a certain sense of violation this morning, this day, these next days or weeks, that would be understandable. Because in a real sense, the dignity, the goodness, the history of America, in some real sense, has been violated through the election of an individual that is so clearly against life and against the culture of the dignity of the human person. Now, where do we go from here? For Catholics who still put their faith first and foremost in Jesus Christ, in the Immaculate Heart of Mary, in the Holy Father, in the Magisterium, for people who understood what this man stands for and what his policies stand for. Now the world will understand it in all too powerful a way, I am afraid. It's really a call to spiritual action. It is not a time of despair. It is a time to come forward like never before with the deepest conviction of our heart, and that is, our faith does not lie first in our government or in any government. It lies first in the power of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, in the mercy that comes to us through the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and in the eternal, immortal graces that come to us through the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church of Jesus Christ, under the appropriate leadership by the power of the Holy Spirit, not by man, of Pope Benedict. So, while it is justified to feel the great loss of what we have done as a country in the United States, there's no time to lose in terms of responding in a way that disciples of Jesus Christ should respond. And what is that? That means more courage, more prayer. I would invite each of you, if you're not already in the practice, of not only praying the rosary for the end of the scourge of abortion, and in reparation for the new culture of death policies that it looks like our country will take in its first row of decisions. But at the end of each rosary, consider adding 3 Hail Marys every time you pray the rosary. 3 Hail Marys for the end of the horrific scourge of abortion, that we never get used to this. We never grow accustomed to the horrific face of abortion. And that we also pray these 3 Hail Marys at the end of each rosary in reparation for culture of death policies and anti-natural law policies that our administration looks to be taking on as soon as it is entered into office. So we are called to a new level of prayer, a new level of dedication. So number one, we must pray the rosary for the end of abortion and in reparation for our upcoming administrative decisions and policies with a new fervor. Number two, quite frankly, you and I have to keep our joy. Why joy? Because joy is a sign that the Holy Spirit dwells in our hearts. Joy is a sign that Jesus Christ will always be the ultimate victor, and in the full Catholic understanding, through the intercession of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, who is the Lady of America, who does want to return this land to a land of purity, even though now it will be an even greater uphill battle. Ultimately, the Immaculate Heart will triumph, and we indeed will be the country we're called to be. Now, in this process, this difficult process that comes ahead, we have to be clear that we are not only praying, but we're people of joy. Why? Mother Teresa put it very quickly and succinctly and clearly, in the sense of saying, if you can't leave your home, and she was talking to her sisters, she said, if you can't leave the convent with joy, you don't want to go out. Why? Because joy is going to be more important now than ever. When you have 9 people on the street that will show in their face, in their attitude, in their demeanor, the difficulties of today and tomorrow and these next 4 years, they're going to see you with joy. They're going to see a smile on your face. They're going to say, in spite of this great difficulty and more difficulties that are soon to approach our country, this person can still smile. And they're going to say, I want what that person has. And then they're going to come to you and you're going to let them know by action or by words that it's Jesus Christ that gives you the joy regardless of what happens externally. So number one, we have to pray more, especially the prayers of the Rosary. Number two, we have to keep our joy, which can only come through the Holy Spirit. And number three, we have to be ready to have no compromise as disciples of Jesus. Yes, in some real sense, our country has compromised by electing an individual who is so against the principles of Jesus Christ. At the same time, we are going to be called upon to be icons, to be witnesses of no moral compromise in a whole environment of moral compromise. And we can do it because of Jesus and Mary. We can do it because of the graces of the sacraments. We can do it because we see people, our brothers and sisters in places like China, who have to do it in incredible circumstances. So we are called to be people of prayer, especially the Rosary. Number two, we are called to have joy. Number three, we are called to be people who will not compromise morally as an icon to the fact that this country ultimately will return to its Judeo-Christian roots. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle saying, have hope, have peace. The Immaculate Heart will triumph. God bless you.